The feud between 50 Cent and the Harris family just exploded, and King Harris has dropped shocking revelations that could have serious consequences. After being smacked for dissing 50 Cent, King went public about his father, T.I., exposing secrets that have stunned the public, and now T.I. could even be facing legal trouble because of what came out. In this video, we'll break down exactly what King Harris revealed, how the confrontation with 50 Cent unfolded, and why this could be the most explosive moment in the Harris family saga yet. To understand what King Harris did, you first have to understand what his father T.I. started. The beef between 50 Cent and T.I. first began way back in 2006, when both rappers were at their peak. 50 was the star of G-Unit, and T.I. was the self-proclaimed king of the South, and the tension began to appear in a competitive way, with sneak disses. But for years it stayed below the surface. They traded subliminals in interviews, made offhand comments on records, and eventually, it seemed like both men had moved on with their careers. Then Verzuz came along. In the middle of the pandemic, Instagram Live was turned into a digital cookout, where legends could go hit for hit, remind everybody who they are, and give fans something to argue about. Back in 2020, T.I. put the challenge out via an Instagram video aimed at 50 Cent on his birthday, saying pull up with 20 records and let's see what's up. 50 didn't accept. He joked that somebody must have passed T.I. the weed they gave Smokey and Friday, making it clear he was treating the challenge like comedy. T.I. didn't stop. At the BMF premiere event, Tip called 50 out on stage and tried to pressure him into doing it for the people. Still nothing. In 2021, 50 Cent shut down the idea of doing Verzuz and suggested it didn't make sense since the platform was basically only for the pandemic. He told the Morning Hustle that once people could go back outside, he didn't understand why anyone would still be doing Verzuz. 5 years passed. Then T.I. went on a press run. On February 6, 2026, T.I. went on Nightcap Live with Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco and said he wanted 50 for Verzuz and that 50 don't want no smoke. A couple of weeks later, he took the conversation further. T.I. joined $1 Million worth of Game on February 22nd and claimed that he and 50 Cent discussed battling before the public back and forth, and that while they were traveling around Hollywood locking in TV and film deals, 50 seemed interested behind closed doors, but sang a different tune on social media, which made T.I. lose respect for 50. T.I. said on the podcast, "We talked about this. We said what we were gonna do. When I jumped out there, he act like he ain't know what the FK was going on." He added, "Just say you don't want to do it. All this other extra lame-ass shit, man, this shit goofy." And he confirmed the Verzuz between the two would never take place. Now, what 50 Cent did next changed the entire nature of the conflict. 50 fired back by posting old clips tied to T.I.'s legal history, specifically a 2008 Crime Stoppers ad. The earliest point of contention between the two had been in 2007, when T.I. faced federal gun charges and struck a plea deal, serving only a year. 50 publicly labeled Tip a snitch and accused him of cooperating with authorities. So 50 was pulling up old receipts, and from there, it stopped being about music and became about respect. And once 50 took it to Tip's family, everything changed. T.I. was promoting his retirement album Kill the King at the time, and had a new single called Let 'Em Know doing well. T.I., in the midst of promotion for the album and sharing of his new song, had not let up on his Queens counterpart. Days after the two began sending shots toward one another on Instagram. But the point at which things went from a rap beef to a family crisis was the moment 50 posted Tiny. 50 Cent and T.I.'s social back and forth sparked a new beef between 50 and Tip's son, King Harris, after the mogul shared a controversial photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny Harris, which prompted King to troll 50, mentioning the mogul's late mother, Sabrina Jackson. Here's what happened. King Harris joined the T.I. and 50 Cent feud on Sunday, February 22nd, after the mogul shared a forewarned Instagram post to T.I. with a photo of Tip's wife, Tiny Harris, performing. 50 captioned the post, "I keep saying keep my name out your mouth, okay?" He captioned it with a remark telling T.I. to keep his name out of his mouth, which many people saw as mocking or disrespectful toward Tiny. That post set things off. 50 Cent shared another post where he dragged King Harris into it, comparing him to Pepe the Frog. T.I. slid into the comments, but the person who went the hardest was King. King would comment under 50's post with Tiny Harris ready for war. "Where your mama?" King commented. And then it got worse. Ahead of unleashing a series of Instagram stories directed at 50 Cent, King shared an Instagram post that began with a photo of 50's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, with a tombstone engraved with Jackson's name and lifespan. The caption to 50 read, and dig up your mama. In the Instagram stories, King went on an expletive-laden rant against 50 Cent and spoke about his late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who died when the rapper was 8. King made it clear he was not going to sit back and watch anyone disrespect Tiny. King Harris took to Instagram in defense of his mother with several posts, pointing out 50's prior beefs, the aftermath of his 2000 shooting, previous accusations of domestic violence, and more. 50 responded with a graphic featuring photos of King and his mother, with the caption, "God don't like ugly." 50 Cent laughed off King Harris's remarks about Sabrina Jackson, posting lol with a photo of a popular cartoon frog meme. But King was not done. King Harris followed this up with his first diss track, Made Man, released on February 24, 2026. He called out the mogul for dissing his mother, making it clear that he was unwilling to tolerate any disrespect. The track had lines going at 50 Cent for being an internet troll, and challenged him to respond in person, not on social media. A couple of days later, King took it even further, after Tip dropped his fourth diss on Thursday night, February 26th. Damani and King Harris trashed the G-Unit boss on their respective songs. King Harris shared his song with a video that caught fire online. In it, he wore a black t-shirt with a photo of 50 Cent's deceased mother on it. As he rapped the song, Harris lit up a blunt and tried to pass it to the photo of 50's late mom. That t-shirt became the moment everyone talked about. Rick Ross, who is also not a fan of 50 Cent, hopped in the comments to share his approval of the song and the t-shirt. "Need that T and a 3X Lil Bro," Rose wrote under King's post. Damani also took offense to 50 Cent's posts. The 24-year-old rapper dropped his diss track, Ms. Jackson, which uses J. Cole's Poor Thang beat and samples Outkast. Damani used his first verse to speak directly to 50 Cent's late mother. The cover art included a burning house, alluding to 50's mother passing away in a fire. The Harris family was all in, but the question was, did T.I. approve of everything his sons were doing? T.I. tempered down the barrage of diss tracks he sent 50 Cent's way, but there were things he wished hadn't occurred. During a sit-down with the Ebro Laura Rosenberg show, the Atlanta rapper reiterated that he didn't need a beef with 50 to boost awareness. For his hit single Let 'Em Know, he said cutting his dreadlocks and returning to his classic fade did all that. But when asked about his sons jumping in, T.I. was direct. "No, I don't enjoy it," said T.I. in response to a question about whether his kids' responses were enjoyable. "I spent so much time trying to get this Lil in, off the ledge. Now he has justifiable means to undo all of the teaching that I've been teaching." That statement was loaded. T.I. was saying that he had been working for years to keep King out of trouble, to keep him from going too far, and now, because 50 Cent disrespected their family, King had an excuse to go back to the behavior T.I. had been trying to stop. T.I. saw 50 Cent's trolling as giving King a reason to revert to old habits, and that worried him, but T.I. also gave credit where he felt it was due. He admitted he was proud of how both his sons defended their mother, Tamika Tiny Harris, who became the butt of several since-deleted memes posted by 50. He said, "I raise my children to be men of respect, logical, reasonable, and not to be emotional. The one thing that I am proud of this is that the women and children in our families see that it's a line of men that's here against who the FK ever." But the t-shirt? That was the line. When asked when he felt things went too far in the beef, T.I. pointed directly at the video of King wearing a shirt with 50's deceased mother on it. "I said that's enough when I seen that t-shirt," the Atlanta rapper said. "I'm big on treating people the way I want to be treated. I don't just be out here doing unto others how I don't want to be dealt with." King had a different perspective. The sons discussed their involvement in the feud during an interview with Complex News. When asked whether they had considered approaching the battle a different way, King replied, "I treated people how they treated us. It wasn't nothing that I wanted to do. It was just something that just had to be done." So here you had the father saying the son crossed the line, and the son saying he did what needed to be done. That tension tells you a lot about the dynamic between King Harris and T.I., a dynamic that has been public, messy, and painful long before 50 Cent ever posted a meme. Meanwhile, T.I. kept dropping records. He dropped War, The Right One Lessons, and What Bully. For 2 weeks, it seemed like T.I. wouldn't let up dropping diss tracks toward 50. T.I. also responded to 50 with a diss track titled The Right One, in which he mentioned 50's ex Daphne Joy's past relationship with Diddy, and 50 mostly stuck to memes. While 50 had initially taken more digs at Tiny and responded to King on his socials, the posts have since been deleted from his Instagram. Eventually, 50 Cent dropped the Power Origins theme song, No One Told Us What We're Here For, featuring Leon Thomas, which contained bars that referenced T.I.'s family and allegations against him and Tiny Harris. The reactions to 50's bars suggested they were nothing to write home about, but it was his first time stepping into the booth on this beef. And then there were the documentary rumors. Reports suggested that 50 Cent may be developing a documentary, tentatively titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny. The rumored film would reportedly explore allegations that have surfaced in the past involving T.I. 50 also posted on Instagram, later deleted, that he was preparing a documentary about T.I. and Tiny's allegations, writing, Remember how quiet I got before the Diddy doc? That right there changed the stakes entirely. This was no longer just about diss tracks or Instagram posts. If 50 Cent was serious about a documentary, the Harris family was facing something that could not be handled with bars. Here is why King Harris jumping into this beef carries more weight than it would for most rappers' sons. The relationship between King and T.I. has been public and complicated for years. So where does all of this leave us? The much publicized back and forth between the two rappers took over timelines in February, when the Harris family, T.I. and sons Damani and King released a slew of diss tracks aimed at 50. That is, multiple family members making records, posting on social media, and going at a man who is known for being one of the most petty and relentless figures in hip-hop history. And what did 50 do? 50 has yet to respond on a record in any meaningful way, and it looks like he won't be doing so anytime soon. The one track he did drop on that Power Origins theme received mixed reactions. Some listeners welcomed his return to the microphone, noting that he had entered the exchange directly. Others described the track as a relatively mild response given the history of intense rap feuds. But the documentary threat still hangs in the air. With the success of the rapper's previous Netflix documentary, it wouldn't be out of character for 50 to turn to a documentary to expose the couple. That is the move everyone is watching for. 50 Cent is not just a rapper. He is a television producer with the reach and the resources to make something like that happen. And the fact that he mentioned the Diddy documentary in the same breath means he is drawing a deliberate parallel. T.I. addressed the situation on TMZ as well. Speaking to TMZ, he said, "Man, that's so last week, man. It's very unfortunate, but honestly, I wasn't here to defeat, I was here to defend." He also said on the Ebro show, "I'm real big on treating other people the way I want to be treated. And I'm also real big on treating the F in way they decided they gonna treat me." And he pointed to 50's silence as proof that the response worked. All of the quietness that we're witnessing right now from Dude, what would have happened if that quietness was practiced at the beginning? Absolutely nothing. We wouldn't be here. Meanwhile, Let 'Em Know, part of T.I.'s retirement album Kill the King, is currently #1 at Urban Radio and on several charts. So from a career perspective, T.I. has gotten a boost from this entire situation. But King is in a different position. He is 21 years old. He is a father now. And he just publicly went at a 50-year-old media mogul by disrespecting his deceased mother, wearing her face on a t-shirt, and lighting up a blunt in front of her image. King Harris's feud with 50 marks the mogul's second with a rapper's son, following his 2026 feud with Diddy's son, Christian King Combs. So 50 Cent is no stranger to conflict with the next generation. What this entire saga exposes is not just a rap beef. It exposes the tension between a father who spent decades building a public image and a son who has repeatedly called that image into question. T.I. wants to be the patriarch who leads his family with respect and logic. King has, at various points, called that a performance. And when 50 Cent targeted the family, both men responded, but in ways that highlighted the gap between them. T.I. responded with diss tracks that were calculated and strategic. King responded with raw emotion, crossing lines that his own father said should not have been crossed. And the fact that T.I. publicly said the t-shirt was too far, while King publicly said it was something that had to be done, tells you that even in the middle of a united front against 50 Cent, the fracture lines within the Harris family are still there. Their willingness to work through issues publicly also provides a template for conflict resolution that many could benefit from following. Rather than allowing pride to perpetuate division, both men have chosen vulnerability and understanding. But vulnerability in a rap beef with 50 Cent is not the same as vulnerability in a podcast interview. And right now, with 50 reportedly working on a documentary about T.I. and Tiny, the Harris family may be facing something that no amount of diss tracks or Instagram posts can handle. The beef between T.I. and 50 Cent might cool down, but what King Harris has exposed about his father, about his family, about how they handle conflict, and how they present themselves to the world, that is not going anywhere. And depending on what 50 Cent does next with that documentary, the worst of this story may not be behind the Harris family. It may be right in front of them. This is a situation worth watching. And whatever happens next, one thing is clear. King Harris is not his father. He does not follow the same playbook. And that is either the Harris family's greatest strength or its most dangerous vulnerability. Time will tell which one it is.